Welcome to Above Par. I'm your host, Kathy Hartwood. I show you how to take more of your talent to the golf course without practicing harder, taking more lessons, or buying new equipment. I show you how to end the frustration of underperforming so you can start playing to your potential. This is where you are going to learn how to think above par so you can play below par. Let's get to it. Hi, my golf friends, and welcome back to Above Par. This is the Wednesday before Christmas, so if you get a chance, if you're listening to it in real time, I hope you're all prepared and enjoying the holidays. If you're celebrating Christmas, enjoying it with the people that are special in your life, and having a fabulous time this holiday season. And this episode is 100, which is crazy to me that I've recorded 100 podcasts. And I think back when I talk about this, when I started my first couple of podcasts, I had no idea what I was doing. I just jumped in. My perfectionism took over. I recorded the first podcast, I think, probably 8 times and kept deleting it. None of them were good enough till I realized what I was doing. And I edited my own podcast, not knowing what the heck I was doing on some kind of awkward software that's changed since then. But 100 podcasts is crazy to me. And I really do appreciate all of you listening. I appreciate it so much and I appreciate your notes because it's so nice to know that I'm not just talking into this dark microphone right here in my office, that people are actually listening and that you're finding value in it. So I thought long and hard on what I was going to talk about on my 100th episode. And I was going to talk about all the ways that I've used these skills to transform me and what I do in different areas of my life, but I didn't want to talk about me. I want to talk about you. And so I had this conversation with one of my clients and I said to her that you're not an effing unicorn. And I said, I need to do a podcast on that. And she challenged me to put it in the title of the podcast, but I don't think I can do it. But I want to do this on You Are Not an Effing Golf Unicorn. And what that means is over the course of recording 100 podcasts and coaching people one-on-one and in a group setting, I want to share with you the different ways that we are all so similar. You are not a unicorn, meaning that you are not unique in your experience. And we do feel like we are sitting out there alone, the only person experiencing all these things. And I reiterate over and over again that we have one brain. Our brains are all designed to do the same things, to freak us out. And most of us don't know how to manage our brains. I for sure didn't know how to do that when I was playing golf for a living. I figured it out the hard way, and I didn't even do a very good job at that. And I still was pretty successful. Right? We can get through life with half-managed brains, mismanaged brains, and still succeed. There's just an easier way to do it. It's just easier to go through it being more intentional and knowing what's going on and creating our results a little bit more on purpose. So this 100th episode is all about unicorns. And how we're not unicorns and how we're all struggling with the same thing. So these are the big similarities that I want to share with you that most of us are experiencing on or off the golf course. And the first one is one of the big takeaways came out of the Above Par Club, which is a community that I have where we take a lot of this content and I dive in deeper on different topics and I coach people in a group setting. People bring up topics. It's awesome because you get to hear what other people are experiencing and realizing that you are not unique or that other people are going through the same things, or you hear what they're going through and you can relate to it in a different way. So one of the things that came out of that, it does not matter if you are a single digit or a plus handicap or you're a 40 handicap. We have very similar thoughts. We have very similar emotions. We are all experiencing doubt and anxiety and frustration and disappointment and fears. Your golf game might look different, but inside your head looks very much the same. And how we experience emotions is the same. It doesn't matter whether you're hitting a drive 300 yards or you're hitting a drive 150 yards. It doesn't matter if you're frustrated because you missed a putt for bogey or you're frustrated because you missed a putt for birdie. It doesn't matter whether you're out there making double bogeys or you're making birdies and you're disappointed or you're excited about either one of them. We're all having the same experience, right? And our thoughts are similar, no matter what your handicap is. And those thoughts can sound like, I'm not good enough. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what kind of golfer is going to show up today. Where'd my swing go? So those are all similar. You're not a unicorn because you hear those thoughts in your head and think nobody else has experienced them. That's not true. We all, no matter what, argue for our limiting beliefs, right? So we have these thoughts in our head that we just believe, right? If you have a thought and you repeat it over and over again, it becomes a belief. And then we argue for them. And they're limiting beliefs, meaning we argue for our limitations, as in, it's just who I am. I can't change. I can't help myself. I'm just a person who gets frustrated. I don't know how to change. I've never been able to change before. Whatever your limiting belief is, that you dig your heels in and you argue for it, we all do the same thing. Most of us just don't catch them, right? Because we believe them. We think they're facts. My limiting belief that I argued for, I argued for it, was that I'm always going to struggle with my putting. And what it means is it was such a crappy thought. It did not serve me in any way. It wasn't helpful, but I believed it so much, I would argue for that. I could show you proof. I could show you stats. It was always on the bottom of my stats. So for years and years of playing competitive golf, I would argue for that limitation. Right? So I encourage you to take a look at some of the limiting thoughts that you have and question all of them. Is it true? How could you be wrong about that? So you believing your BS thoughts is something that all of us do. You are not a unicorn in that. The other thing that we all do is that it boils down to how we get to feel. Everything we do boils down to how we get to feel. We go out and play golf hoping that we get to feel a certain way. We avoid things because of how we might feel. We want to change things and change our results because of how they make us feel. All of us are driven by that. And one of the formulas that you can use is when you're thinking that you want to do something or you're wishing something would change, it's because of how you get to feel. And the formula goes like this. If this happens, blank, I get to think blank, so I get to feel blank. Right? So if I shoot 72, I get to think I'm a pretty good golfer, so I get to feel proud and happy and not embarrassed. The other side of that formula would be, if I do this, blank, I get to think blank, so I get to avoid feeling embarrassment, disappointment. Right? Everything for all of us is driven by how we get to feel, which is a great thing for you to pause and look at some of the things that you're doing and question, why are you doing them? How do you want to feel? Or what do you want to change? Or how do you want people to change in your life? Like, what do you want your kids to do or family members to do or people at the club to do? Most of the time is because how we think we'll feel if they do those things. The other thing that we are not unicorns about is worrying about other people, worrying about what other people think. There are not too many people that I come across that don't have this pop up for them somehow, some way. And part of the reason is because we're tribal in nature. We don't want to get kicked out of the tribe. Our primitive part of our brain doesn't want to get kicked out of the tribe. If we get kicked out of the tribe, we're going to starve and have to fend for ourselves, and it's going to be horrible. Right? We got to go out and find our own berries and kill our own animals to eat. We want to rely on the tribe. We don't want to get kicked out of the tribe. So we worry about what other people think. So we all do it. And of course, the more we sit there and go, oh, here I am doing that thing where I'm worrying about what other people think, and you get an opportunity to pivot, then it does not control or affect how your day goes or how your golf game goes or the language that you get to tell yourself about what other people are thinking. We all have negative brains. So the negative chatter in your head that you hear when you're on the golf course or throughout the day, we all have it. Our brains have a negative bias to them. They are always looking for all the things that can go wrong. It's designed to keep you alive, your primitive part of your brain. So it's always looking for different ways that we're going to get eaten alive or we're going to die off it as a species. It's going to scan the universe for all the things that can go wrong. So helpful to be onto that and know this is part of your brain's tendency because we are working against it. We've got to deliberately go out and look for the positive things. We've got to deliberately go out and look for the wins. Otherwise, these negative thoughts, which I call hamsters, end up driving our bus, and we're not going to like where they take us. So we all have a negative bias to our brain. Most of us, for the most part, whether we notice or not, also have thoughts of not being good enough, not something enough, not a good enough putter. We don't hit it far enough. We're not strong enough. We're not smart enough. We're something not enough, or we could be better at something. Our brain loves to go there. And we all have that dialogue in our head from time to time. You want to catch it. because it doesn't feel very good. Where we go down this whole shutting all over ourselves. But when you know that it is just our tendency to do that, all of us, we're all in this together, there's kind of a little bit of comfort in that. Here's my brain doing that thing again. Nothing has gone wrong. And the other thing where you are not a unicorn is there is no end. It is a continuous work in progress. Managing your brain is a daily thing because it's going to be negative. It's going to worry about what other people think. It's going to tell you that you're not good enough every single day if you let it happen. And you evolving into that better golfer, that better version of yourself is a process that never stops. There is no getting there. So many people think like, oh, I'll be so happy once my handicap gets to a certain number. I promise you that's not true because by the time you get there, while you might be happy that it's there, it starts all over again. Now you got to manage your brain. So many people think that once I get to a certain handicap or once I shoot a certain number, then I'll be happy and then I'll be done. And then I won't have to do this anymore. But once you get to that handicap, let's say you wanted to be a 5 handicap or you wanted to shoot 75. Once you get there, while it might be fun for a moment, the next day it starts all over again. Now you're like, maybe I want to be a 4. Or how do I stay being a 5? Or how do I repeat that 75? It doesn't end. We get to keep doing this work every single day, which is good news because we are designed to keep wanting to evolve and become better versions of ourselves. The minute we stop doing that, we atrophy. Right? We go backwards. We stop evolving, stop growing. We are designed to keep evolving. And for you to keep evolving and changing, become a better version of yourself, the process has to keep going. You just get better at it. So many of my clients and people that I talk to just want to get to the end result and think they're done. The minute you start loving the process, loving who you get to become, the challenge of who you get to become along the way, then there's no rush to get somewhere. You just keep going, what's next? Bring it on. I can do it. So if you think some people are like, they're just done and they're set and I want to be at that place, it's not true. We're constantly doing the work. If you have a brain, you have something to work on. And I say, if you have a brain, you can use coaching because the fastest way to get there is to have someone look at your thoughts versus trying to figure it out on your own. The second best thing is to be totally aware and listening to this podcast and being curious because I promise you, most of the people that you play golf with are not. And as you've listened to a lot of these podcasts, because I get a lot of feedback on this, you start being very aware of other people that you're playing golf with. You might start noticing their negative thoughts, noticing how they're going to implode, how they're worrying about what other people think, how they don't manage their emotions so well on the golf course, how they hit too many shots when being frustrated or angry, how they beat the crap out of themselves, how they should all over themselves, right? You start noticing it in other people because you're more aware of it in yourself. And most of the people that you will run into are not doing this work. I think this is your advantage. I know this is your advantage. So I'm so happy that you are here. I'm here to help you. I have lots of great things coming up in 2023 beyond the fact that I'm opening the Above Par Club back up. It might have a new name, but coming in January, if you want to join that community, there'll definitely be more information here on the podcast and my website. But I will for sure keep you notified. So those are my highlights of the things that I've learned over the course of coaching people on 100 podcasts on how we are not effing golf unicorns. We all are in the same boat doing the same things. We all have similar thoughts and emotions, no matter what our handicap is or what our score is. We have a tendency to argue for our limitations, so I urge you to question everything. Ask yourself, is it true? Could you be wrong about it? Everything you do or everything you avoid doing is about how you get to feel or how you get to avoid feeling. Next, we all worry about what other people think. It's just natural. Expect it, and then learn to pivot from it. Catch it before it starts consuming your day and your round. We all have negative brains. It is your daily work to hear those thoughts and decide to think something different. And you want to notice all your shoulds on how you tell yourself you're not enough in some area. We all have a tendency to do it. Don't believe your brain, right? And enjoy the process. The work is never done. So when you step into enjoying the process, it becomes so much enjoyable and then you'll get to your results that much faster. All right, my friends, I hope you have a beautiful holiday. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so grateful that you listened to this podcast and send me all your notes and keep doing the work. And I'll talk to you next week.